Ladies, I have a huge problem in my marriage. Prior to my husband, I was deeply in love with my ex, and may Allah forgive us both. We had tanantana many times while dating, but our relationship ended due to family problems. Then I met my husband. We dated, but we never had tanantana because he always acted religious during our courting. And out of hate and frustration towards my ex, I agreed to get married. When we consummated the marriage that night, he sucked in bed. Not only that, he would arrive very fast.
You know, it's just too much to unpack too quickly. So, just to explain to you what's going on here. All right, the sister is relating a story of another sister who was in a haram relationship, and she had done taran taran. I like how she drops that. She had done taran taran one too many times in that relationship. Okay. Do Desi appreciate the $5? This is not her. Let me just get that straight, guys. The sister is not talking about herself. All right. She's relating the story of someone else. The message that was sent into her. She's got quite a big, no, she's got 23K followers, not that big. But she's relating the story of someone else. Now, this woman, the sister that she's relating the story of, had an intimate relationship with her boyfriend, had sex many times. Okay. And the sex was good. It was good. I'm just relating the story. I'm just telling you. Like my man was making her hit them high notes. You get me, bruv. You get me, bruv. So, what's the takeaway here? She has a standard set in her mind. There's a standard set in her mind. And I will add this, by the way. There is an element of excitement that is attached to haram in general. Let me unpack that a bit more. Human beings have an innate affinity towards something they can't do. All right. Tell a child you can't go over there. That's where he's going to want to go. Tell anyone you can't have this. He's going to want that the most. Right. We have this attraction to have the things that we can't have. Only that apple tree was forbidden from Adam and Hawa, and yet it was very alluring for them to eat from it. So we have this innate affinity, and there is an additional excitement attached to that thing that we are not actually allowed to do. What's my point here? Is that during the zina that they would have been committing, there is this additional element of excitement of doing something wrong that would have been attached to the feeling, to the moment. And that can create a warped experience. Particularly in the mind of a woman. Now, I'm not trying to take anything away from the brother. Maybe he's, genuinely good at what he does. May Allah forgive him. But just to highlight that point, for you sisters who have done haram perhaps, and now you don't have the butterflies in your stomach. I don't get the feels. I don't get the butterflies in my stomach. Yes, just understand, part of what was creating that butterfly effect in your stomach was intimately connected to the fact that you knew you shouldn't have been doing that in the first place. You need to understand that, so that you can try and disassociate the two things, the actual act itself and then this feeling of excitement that would have been aroused from the fact that you were doing something you know you shouldn't have. All right? That's the first point. Now, she's married. She's actually left this guy, went, bottom up, or whatever you want to say. And now she's with next man. And my man arrives quickly. My man is ready to pass on his load, his children, in a very short period of time. That's why I've gathered from what she has said so far. Let's continue.
Fast. This made me irritable, and I questioned myself often. He would please himself and go to sleep, while I stay up all night thinking, what the H did I just experience? Because that, to me, was not the dun I'm used to.
That to me was not the taran that I was used to. This is a very important point here. She didn't say that was very bad sex, that was very bad intimacy. No, she made a very specific statement, a very specific claim, which was that wasn't what I was used to. Now, clearly, if my man's arriving in 3 minutes and he's doing this on a regular basis, there's a big problem. And we're going to get to that in a second. But, gentlemen, even if you don't arrive in 3 minutes, even if you're good, Even if, like, you're doing your best to please her, you don't suffer from pre-ejaculation, you don't have any of those issues. If she's used to a certain standard and you don't match her at that standard, you're in trouble. You're in big trouble. And this doesn't just apply to sex, by the way. This applies to many things. Intelligence, height, if she's, again, what she's used to, right? A certain lifestyle, the way she lives, applies to everything. A woman, Sister Naima, Jazakallah khair, she said it herself. She said, a woman can't, on my podcast, a woman can't go backwards once she's gone forwards, once she's experienced something. It's very hard for her to go backwards. And that also applies to the bedroom. No difference. Dude, Desi, appreciate the support, my man. Never knew that sex could be referenced with such a musical sounding word. Trust me, bro. Trust me. All right, let's continue.
Since it was early in our marriage, I got quiet and put the blame on myself, and sometimes made excuses that maybe he's nervous. This continued for several months. I became pregnant with my first child, then things got even worse.
Okay, and I'm going to get into another email that was sent to me the other day afterwards. And this is now to the sisters, okay? Sisters, if you have just gotten married and you find yourself in this situation whereby you are consistently, your husband is consistently underperforming, he is arriving too soon, he suffers from pre-ejaculation, please, for God's sake, go and sort your issues out. He needs to get his issues sorted out before you conceive a child, for crying out loud, please. Do whatever you have to do to make sure that no children are involved in this hot mess at this moment in time. Please, I am asking you. Children will not fix your problems. They will only further complicate your problems if you have a very big problem. Okay? If you have a very big problem, and this is a very big problem, if this continues, and again, we can only go on her side of the story, by the way, gentlemen. We have to be careful here. We don't know what his side of the story is. But if the story is as it is being related, this is actually grounds for divorce, by the way. This is grounds for divorce. I'm not being satisfied in the bedroom. I fear haram. I am worried that if I'm not satisfied, I might go and do something stupid. That's grounds for divorce. Please don't go and throw a child into that mess. But for whatever reason, they've had a child. She's fallen pregnant. Let's continue with this story.
When we first got married, we were having tanantana once a month. Then it went to every 3 months.
What? Rude boy. I don't know what to say here. Listen, I was asked on one of my previous streams, what's a normal number intimacy wise? I can tell you 2 to 5 times a week is normal. 2 to 5 times a week is normal. All right, twice a week is normal. 3 times a week is normal. 4 times a week, 5 times a week is normal. I'm not saying 6 is abnormal. I'm not saying 1 is abnormal, but generally speaking, there's a range. Once a month, that's a problem. I believe that would be officially considered a sexless marriage, actually. Go and have a look at the Google definition of what is the Google definition of a sexless marriage. I believe, I'm trying to remember what Esther Perel mentioned in her book, Mating in Captivity. I believe once a month is officially considered a sexless marriage. If you can only bring yourself to be intimate with your partner, be it husband or wife, once a month, there is a massive problem, either with you or with her. And it's most probably with you, because especially if you're the guy, I'll tell you why I say that. Men can be sexually intimate with a woman even if he's not attracted to her once his balls fill up enough. He'll turn her around, head down, face down, backside up. You understand? You know how the rest of that sentence goes.